What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be taking you through my leg routine with all the exercises and a commentary over the top, talking about form, rep ranges and why I do my exercises to grow my legs, as a lot of people do struggle and it is their weakest body part. So let's get straight into this. I always start my leg workouts with 5 minutes on the bike, just to get my joints mobile and get some blood pumping into my legs ready for the squats. I believe that squats should be a staple in every single leg routine, as it is hands down the best exercise to build mass in the muscles in your legs. I've done 2 or 3 warm-up sets just before this with a lighter weight to get my joints and muscles ready for the working sets. For squats I use a pyramid set technique. This is where I'm going to work the weight up each set until I get to my very top set around your 3rd or 4th set, where you're going to go for 5 reps for as heavy as possible. You're then going to work the weight back down and go for more volume, so higher reps around the 15 rep range. You don't want to go to failure on this first set, as you don't want to burn out for the heavier sets to come. As you can see in the video, I'm currently doing low bar squats. This is where you place the bar lower down on your traps, just above your rear delts. This is going to hit your posterior chain, so your glutes and your hamstrings a lot more than your quads. This is why you will see my back slant forward slightly rather than being as upright, almost like doing a good morning exercise. This does put a lot of stress on my lower back, so I am working on slowly moving the bar back up to put more emphasis on the quads. But alternating between the high bar and the low bar squat could be very effective to even out your glutes, hamstrings and your quads. Personally, I do my squats without my shoes on and just in my socks, as I feel I can get a better connection with the ground and a flat surface to push through my heels to generate a bit more power for my squats. If you have squat shoes, then that'd be even better, but I suggest doing it without your shoes on if you have got curved shoes, as you won't have a stable base to push through. One of the main things you want to focus on while squatting is making sure that your knees are pointing in the same direction as your feet, and don't let them cave in at any point, as this is going to shift the weight from your muscles to your joints with a high chance that you're going to get an injury. As you can see in the video, my knee does tweak in slightly, so make sure you're driving your knees out all times, as this is going to stop you from getting injured and generate as much power as possible. A very important fact that the people often forget while squatting is keeping their upper back nice and tight. You want to do this by pulling your hands closer in with a narrow grip, as your traps and rear delts will tighten up and keep the bar secure on your back. And then when you're lowering down the squat, you want to pull the bar into your back as tight as possible to feel secure, so you don't lose balance at any point. As you can see, I've started to bring the weight back down now on the other side of the pyramid set. I did do another set that I didn't film, where I've done 110 kg for 15 reps. So this is a higher rep range, and I do feel to maximise your legs, you need to alternate between high volume and low volume sets, as long as you don't go below 5 reps in order to maximise your leg growth. After the 5 sets of squats, we moved on to another compound exercise in the leg press. I do feel that doing more compound exercises rather than isolation exercises is what's going to see you get the growth you need in your legs, as isolation exercises do shape the muscle and don't give you as much growth that you need. Overall, I did 4 sets, and I made sure every 2 sets I alternated my feet placement in order to hit different muscles more dominantly in my legs. So for the first 2 sets, I placed my feet on the lower part of the leg press and a little bit closer together. So this is going to target your quads more than your glutes and your hamstrings, and make sure you get that outer sweep on your quads by placing your feet a little bit closer. For the second 2 sets, I placed my feet high up on the leg press, which shortened the range of motion slightly and made sure I hit my glutes and my hamstrings more than my quads. To get the most out of the leg press, you want to make sure that your muscles are under constant tension throughout the whole movement and every single rep. You can ensure this by not locking your knees out at the top of the movement. Under any circumstance, you shouldn't lock your knees out, as this can put your knees under high risk of getting injured and damaging them really badly, as I'm sure a lot of you have seen the videos on Facebook where people's legs have snapped by locking their legs out on the leg press. So make sure at no point you're locking your knees out, as it can cause injury. You also want to make sure you're not bringing your legs down too far and bring them up against your body, as this will allow you to get momentum to get it off your body and get the weight up, which you don't want. Also, bringing your legs down against your body is also going to put your lower back and spine at risk, as your lower back is going to start to curve up, especially if you're not very flexible with the weight bearing against it, which can put you at a high risk of getting injured. So as you can see in the video, you want to be pushing till you're just about to lock out, and then bring the weight back down just past 90 degrees, but not so your legs are pressing up against your body. And like the squat, you want to be making sure you're pushing through your heels and make sure your knees are in line with the direction your feet are pointing in. The next exercise I moved on to was a hack squat, which is another compound movement, and like I stressed before, I really feel like that the compound movements with high reps and high volume sets is the best way to maximise your leg growth. Like the leg press, I've done 2 different variations, 2 sets each, 2 where I'm facing outwards and 2 where I'm facing inwards in order to target different muscles in my legs. It's very similar to a squat movement, so make sure you lower down just past 90 degrees and drive up through your heels and try not to lock out your knees at the top of the movement. This variation, facing outwards, is going to place more emphasis on my quads instead of my hamstrings and glutes. Now facing in towards the machine, it's going to place more emphasis on my hamstrings and glutes instead of my quads. By this point in the session, my legs are feeling a lot weaker than they were at the start, and my abs are also feeling a lot weaker, so my back is starting to curve a little. So try and keep your core nice and strong within this exercise to make sure you don't curve your back too much and you're driving up through your heels with a strong core. For this last set, I dropped the weight right down and tried to keep constant tension on my muscles throughout the whole movement by not locking out my knees at the top, and drop the weight down so I could feel my muscles working to try and gain a little bit of mind muscle connection. So the next exercise we moved on to was elevated stiff leg deadlifts, which is definitely the best exercise that directly hits the hamstrings. The reason I do this exercise elevated is that I'm quite flexible and it will help me get that extra stretch by going past ground level. The main things you want to focus on this exercise is keeping nice soft knees and not bending your legs at any point in the movement. As you lower the bar as close as you can to your legs, push your hips and glutes backwards as far as you can, and you should feel a really good stretch on your hamstrings. You also don't want to extend at the very top of the movement like a real deadlift, as this will bring your lower back into play, and we just want to keep our hamstrings isolated. I did a total of 3 sets of this exercise with 12 reps on every single set. So for the second to last exercise, we're going to be doing leg extensions, which is going to isolate your quads. But everyone goes way too heavy in the gym, which puts a lot of stress on your knees, which you don't want. So you've got to go nice and light with high reps and really feel the muscle contract. Now I do 3 sets of 15 reps on this exercise, and I change my feet placement on each set in order to target a different part of the muscle within the quad. Now for the first set, I keep my legs at a standard width with my toes pointing forwards, and this is going to dominantly hit the middle of my quad. For the second set, I use a bit of a wider stance with my legs and I point my feet out slightly, which is going to hit the inner part of the quad, which gives you that nice teardrop look that hangs over the side of your knee. And for the third set, I put my feet nice and close together and my legs just narrower than a standard width, which can hit that outer sweep of your quad. Adding in these variations can help bring up weak points in your quad. However, you do have to remember this is still going to target the whole of the quad, whatever variation you do. So to finish off the workout, we've done 5 sets of calf raises, and I think the best way to grow your calves is to go for the 15 to 20 rep range or even higher, and make sure you're holding for a second or two right at the top of the movement, and don't just rep out and bounce up and down on your toes. Alright guys, that brings the end to my leg workout. I don't keep that the same every single week, as I do switch in, switch out different exercises to keep it interesting and to target different parts of the muscles. So keep that in mind. If you do use this leg workout, substitute in different exercises every other week or so, just to mix it up and make sure you're hitting all parts of your legs. I hope you found it really informative and took away some useful tips on how to maximise your leg growth. So if you like the video, be sure to hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed already, be sure to subscribe, as I've got lots of informative and enjoyable content coming up soon.